Okay. Happy New Year. Anybody do anything exciting for Christmas and New Year's? I know Dave did. He can tell us about it later. Anybody else? Anybody go anywhere? Where'd you go, Amy?
Well, for New Year's Eve, I saw Leonard Skinner. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
For Christmas, starting on the 21st through the 27th, my family had the flu. It started with patient 0 was my oldest, followed by myself, our daughter, our son, my husband, and our other son. So Christmas was the most fun at our house.
Cool.
Tamiflu was my friend. So,
Cool. You didn't need champagne, did you?
not for Christmas.
Okay. Welcome to the West DFW REI Group. We've had this group for 10 years this past November, and it's hard to believe. Dave probably had hair back then. Mine's gotten really thin.
I was born bald.
So we're a group of like-minded people. Place for you to come rub elbows, share ideas, network, hang out with like-minded investors, agents, vendors, with an interest of being more successful and making more money and help more people. Isn't that what it's all about, is helping people? I mean, yeah, we have to make money. We're not a non-profit organization. My wife reminds me frequently, dear, we're not a non-profit. We have to make some money. I don't know, something about shopping. You know? But anyhow, come network, learn, and do more deals. That's kind of the slogan I've added to the group. Network, learn, and do more deals. If anybody goes out and Googles REIA clubs or building the buyers list, things like that, you're going to see that everything says coming to these events and networking is one of the biggest things you could ever do. I'd like to say I'm the best thing you could ever want to come see, but I know that's not true. You want to come for the networking and, of course, the education. But come network, shake hands, meet people. This is a we, not a me business. Does that make sense? It's a we, not a me business. So, is it okay? Couple admin notes here. If you got to take a phone call, please step out the back. Restrooms are out right outside the check-in desk across the hall. There's a deal analysis table, deal table in the back. Plus there's a couple of tables back here. So if you have flyers, you have business cards, you have deals you're working on, you can put your stuff out there. Of course, the best thing you can do is what? Come early, shake hands, network, tell people about your deals. Please visit with our trusted sponsors to learn how they can help you. You're going to see and hear from a couple of them here shortly, but this is a big thing for those of you who are new in the business. You don't want to be another one of the news reports where you gave a roofer 10 grand to go do a roof and then you never see them again, or you give them money for a fence or a pool or whatever, and they're gone and they got your money and you never see them again. By coming here and using our sponsors, that's one of the big benefits of being a member of the group, is having access to people that you can trust. I use my grandmother's rule. If you can send your grandmother to them and still sleep at night, it's somebody we want to talk to and consider as a sponsor and a vendor in the group. Okay? If you know people, by the way, I'm looking for some good handyman companies. If anybody's got one, I need them. So come and see me about that, or email it or text it to me, but I'm looking for a handyman. We have a rehab contractor. He's not here today, but we have a rehab contractor, and he does turnkey rehab, start to finish. But he won't do a bathroom or paint the carpet, that kind of stuff. So I need somebody that can do repairs. In this presentation that's going to be uploaded to the website, you're going to get this presentation and you can just click on these links and it'll take you right to these past training videos and stuff that we've done in the past. So here's the agenda for every Saturday that we do this, okay? 08:15 to 9 is the check-in, breakfast, networking, talking to sponsors. 8:30 to 8:45 is the time that most of you sat in on this morning, going over the new member and guest benefits, how the group works, what you get when you become a member, that kind of thing. So if you have questions about membership, whether you're new or been around a while, come sit in on that, grab your coffee, grab a donut, and sit in on that. It's only about 15 minutes. And then 9 to 11:30 is our class time. Sometimes it goes way over. I think it was after 12:30 last month before we got out of here. But you can leave whenever you're ready. We normally are not pressed for time getting out of this building. You know, when we finish the meeting, we can hang out here in the back for a little bit. If by the time I leave, I need to ask you all to leave, so you can at least go downstairs or something. But normally we can hang out here for a while. You just can't roam about the bank. That might be a little bit of a problem. Okay, legal disclaimer, just like so many others, you know, I have to give this disclaimer. You know, we're not offered any kind of legal or tax or investment advice. If you really have a question about something, I'd encourage you to go get that type of professional advice. Now, I'm not lying to you, giving you the best guidance and stuff that I know of, but if you want to make sure, even with all the contracts that I provide you on the webpage, things that I've used, it's best for you to go get your legal counsel. If you're not sure about something, go get counsel and make sure that it works for your business model and what you're doing. Okay, here is all the sponsors that we have. Okay, let's just go around the corner here. We'll start with Amy. You want to just do a quick intro, Amy? And Amy's our guest speaker today, so she'll give you more here in a minute. But
my name is Amy. I actually own Office REI, and I do home servicing and sometimes we work apartments where people call and say they have something to sell. And we email them out to people we know that like to buy them. I send them. I don't know if it ever worked out, but you know, it's another contact you can add to our list. I think it's a hidden market people don't realize. As a note servicer, gets emails from people who are looking to buy notes or sell notes.
okay.
Which actually,
Well, we'll hear more from Amy in just a minute. Right?
we also report to credit to Equifax, and we're working on TransUnion, and we have the ability to force place insurance.
Okay.
You guys don't have to crane me back. I'll come up here just a bit. My name is Ryan. I help you guys do deals. So what's one of the biggest things that holds you back from doing a deal?
Money.
Money.
Hey.
That's what I got. I have 100% financing, which means we cover all of your purchase, all of your rehab. You just have to pay the closing costs on deals. We're a hard money lender. We offer 6-month terms, and we offer our loans. All you have to have is $15K cash in the bank, and then a credit score of 650 or above. We can work sometimes with credit scores that are a little bit lower than that, but not too much lower. But again, it's 100% financing. It gets you in and out of deals quick, and allows you to do more deals. That's how I was able. I'm right now doing 4 townhomes. I don't have the cash to buy 4 townhomes in Grand Prairie, but because I was able to use that leverage, I'm able to do those. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I am stepping out because I have my nephew's 5-year birthday party to go to, so I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to hear, especially since I love August REI. But if anybody wants my card, I'm more than willing to quickly run it by.
May I ask what's your
Terms, 6 months. We want 1% interest-only payments paid monthly, and then it's 2 to 3 points at close. The typical closing cost for a $150,000 note is going to be around $8,000. And then other than that, we convert.
Let me put 1 pot of fund and then 2 to 3 pot at closing and the interest is.
No, the interest is 1% per month.
1% per month.
The points are paid at close.
Ryan's gonna say who he's with shortly.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Longhorn Investments, it's on the card.
So what Ryan said, one word that was really important that I want to make sure that you heard, and that is leverage. His money allows you to leverage and buy a lot of properties. Unless you are Michael Jordan or some other big wig that has lots of money, aren't you limited on how much funds you can buy? And by learning some of the creative strategies like using hard money, learning how to use private money, finding private money, learning how to buy houses subject to, and leveraging other people's money, you know, you're going to be able to do a lot more. But if you're going to be restricted to your cash in your bank account or your cash that you can borrow by taking out a mortgage, which is going to impact your credit, then you know you're going to be very, very limited on what you can buy. But when you learn to use these other tools, subject to private money, hard money, certain investment type loans that Ruth Ann has, you know, those are all going to allow you to leverage and buy more properties. Okay? All right, who's next? Dave, Mr. Burdick.
Good morning, I'm Dave Burdick, Burdick Insurance, one-stop shop for all your insurance needs. We specialize in insurance for property investors. Whether you're doing rehabs and flips, buy and hold, subject tos, wraps, we have the insurance policies and background to handle your particular needs. We do a lot of business with property investors. I dare say we're one of the largest insurance agencies to deal with property investors, certainly in Tarrant County. We've got about $220 million of property value insured for property investors, and we do it every day. So you're not going to miss a closing because some agent didn't get your policy correct or didn't get the EOIs to the title company so that you can get closed. Keep us in mind, we love to compete for business. The odds are we can save you money, but more importantly, we'll get it done right and quickly for you. Dave Burdick, Burdick Insurance, your umbrella against the random storms of life. And if any of you would like cards, I have some here I can pass on.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Dave just put insurance on one of my properties I just bought this month, so, or last month. Okay, who else we got? Robin, good morning.
Forgive me, I still have a cold I've been getting over since Christmas too. So anyway, I'm with Bearcat Capital. So we buy and sell real estate notes. We do some small private lending. That's what we were doing on this foreclosure. We had a loan with the borrower and had to foreclose on it, unfortunately. But so we are, if you have a note that you are considering putting together for owner financing, we're not attorneys, but we can maybe help you out because you never know if you're going to be able to, you're going to try to sell it later on if something comes up, and make sure that you've got some of the deal points that we would look at as a buyer, so when you're structuring that note. And if you just have any questions about notes and stuff like that in general, you know, please give me a call. I'll be happy to talk to you. Get my information off the website, and I have cards in the back. Thank you.
So all of the sponsors' info is on the webpage under resources. I'll show you that here too. Okay, Ruth Ann, good morning.
Good morning.
My favorite sign.
What?
My favorite sign.
Sign? Yes. I'm a traditional lender. I'm sorry. I'm Ruth Ann Dunham with Service First Mortgage. Been doing this 26 years. And, 27 coming up. I'm a traditional lender in that I do most of the time, owner occupied or regular 20% down investor loans. But the thing that makes me different from most lenders is that I also help people get their credit up to that score that you need, like the 650 that you need for this hard money, or to a point where they can get down payment assistance. You'll see I'm holding a sign writer. I have sign writers even, I do 100% financing in the country. It can be a small city like Joshua or Midlothian. Even Midlothian, see, is small enough to have 100% financing. So I can get you a rider to go on your sign so that the buyer knows that that's available to them. I have all of the city assistance programs, like Fort Worth has 20,000, Arlington has 20,000, Irving has 50,000, Grand Prairie has 5,000, Dallas, they don't set a limit, it's by need. I have the county of Dallas, 7,500, but those people who get that money have to be under 80% median income. So that's like about 60-some thousand for a family of 5 or 42 something for just one person. If they make less than that, they can get those big dollars. Otherwise, we have to go to some of the state programs. And I have flyers for the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs that Tim mentioned earlier that helps us track double wides, manufactured housing. They do bonds that you pay back with no interest, no payments. So they'll give you a second lien, your buyer, second lien, and they eventually pay it back when they sell their home, but no interest, no payments. And then I have Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation that has extra benefits for heroes like teachers and policemen and such. But theirs is usually either a grant or a second lien that's forgiven over 3 years. So as long as they're going to live there 3 years, they never pay that money back. They can make more money than the program where it has bigger bucks. They can get 3 to 5% of assistance. So if they're going like FHA, 3.5 down, they can cover their down payment. Okay. And veteran can still get this 3 to 5% to cover the closing costs. So you don't have to build in enough money in the sales price to pay their closing costs for them. Okay? Or you can still build it in, let me do the deal for you and profit that extra money. So I have all brochures. Oh, and Texas Veterans Land Board. If you know a disabled veteran who needs to buy, please let him know about the information, because if they have a disability, they can get a killer interest rate through Texas Veterans Land Board. I can help them get that. Okay, Ruth Ann Dunham with Service First Mortgage. Thanks.
Thank you, Ruth Ann. So before I forget, you should all go call the sponsors and go sit down and buy them coffee or buy them lunch and find out more about what they can do for you and why they're sponsors of this group. They can do a tremendous amount of good for you in your business. So, but they can't help you if you don't know what services they offer. So go buy them coffee, take them out to lunch, learn more about it. Okay, Rodney, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Rodney Rush with Real Estate IQ, and we have a deal that's going on with Tim and his group so that we can provide you with the free deal analysis suite for 6 months if you're a member. You just have to sign up for that. That's something we're only doing with Tim and his group. And we also wanted to let you know about our new community page that is out there that allows you to find these vendors, find companies, talk with others, help with networking. And that's just started in the last couple of weeks, and so we're building that out and want to make sure that everybody can see that. His events are on that community page. There's a place if you're a real estate investor and you want to find out about events. We have local real estate investor community groups on there so that you can go and find them outside of MeetUp. And so we're doing a whole lot to help educate as well as partner with all of these real estate investor groups in the area, and we'd like you to be a part of that community and help help out where you can. Also, we do off-market lead lists. That's our bread and butter, is helping you find deals through motivated sellers out there. And so Taliba is working with me today in the back. She's very knowledgeable in all of this. You can speak with her, you can speak with myself, and we'll help you get started and moving forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, for all of the annual members, if you have not signed up for that 6-month deal analysis suite, you need to do that. So, send me an email or a text or something and tell me that you need the link. It's on, I think I have it on the page, but honestly it's so new I can't tell you right where it's at. And it's in, if you're a brand new member, it should be in your welcome email when you register to go sign up. But this is free for you to get the tools you need to get you off to a successful start in business. That's why we're doing it. It took Steve and I a little while to come to this agreement on putting this offer together, but it's cool. You can't get this offer anywhere except here. 6 months of fast CMA, which is MLS comps. No more free stuff. You don't need to worry about the freebies anymore, the free sites, because you need true comps, and that's what you get with fast CMA. You get the deal analysis suite to help you analyze the deal and determine if you have an offer. You get the 6 months of the repair estimator tool, so you can put together accurate repair estimates for you to make your accurate offers. So that's no cost. There's no credit card required. It's no trick. There's nothing. 6 months free as a member of this group. So make sure you let me know if you need that link, and I'll get it sent to you. Have we missed anybody? Any sponsors on this? Okay, moving on. So the rest in this presentation, the rest of the sponsors that are not here today, they have a slide in here, but again, all of our sponsors are on the website for you to access. Oh, okay, I didn't shut these out, but here in the presentation, you'll go on the website. Here's all the other sponsors. I included them here, but they're also in the web page as well. We'll just get through all these. That's the rehab contractor. They're doing rehab for me. Okay, upcoming meetings. I touched on this briefly earlier, but just go to the calendar of events page on the website and you'll see everything that is there, and you just click on it to get the details. And your email, you receive an email once you, well, as a member of the group, you'll receive an email telling you about the upcoming meetings as well. But if you just want to see it and go register, you can come right on the calendar. Click through the arrows here to go to the next month. We have a lot of cool things coming up for the spring. I'm going to skip that for now. Okay, here they are here. So March is going to be the Ioannidis. Anybody here last year when John and Stephanie was here? They gave a really good presentation. They're coming back, but it's a complete agreeable transaction system. It's another way of talking to sellers and helping sellers that, you know, maybe a wholesale deal is not going to work. The dates are going to be coming. It's really the 5th and 7th, but I just got the info and I haven't got it on the webpage yet, on the calendar. But it's coming here shortly, probably this week. April, we're going to be doing tax and asset protection planning strategies for real estate investors with Anderson Law Group. Anderson Law Group is the law firm that put together my legal entities probably 15 years ago. That has to tell you something right there, that these folks are good. They've been around a long time. They're going to come and talk about tax strategies and stuff and what kind of entities you need. they'll be doing a 3-day workshop in April. Yeah, April. May, we're going to be getting a legal update from our title company with Martin Garcia. He's going to have some other things in there besides the legal update, but you won't want to miss that. Again, I don't have the exact dates yet to get on the calendar, but as soon as I have that info, then the calendar will be updated. June, we're going to be doing self-directed IRAs. Anybody doing deals in self-directed IRAs today? Okay. What a sweet deal, huh? Well, that little rental I told you I just bought is in my IRA. And yeah, that's a sweet deal. And you can not only buy houses with an IRA, if you go to your CPA and say, I want to buy houses in my IRA, he's probably going to say, you can't do that. Most of them do. Mine did. But they don't know what they don't know. So you're going to learn all about it in June. I mentioned this briefly earlier. We have a 2020 membership offer good until midnight tonight. So what it consists of basically is you get instead of $180 a year, it's $150, and you get the bonuses. And those bonuses are the t-shirt like Pamela's wearing out back, the anniversary t-shirt, and Ron LeGrand's book, who's the guy that got me started in this business. And I was actually a mentor for Ron's students for about 5 years. And then How to Make a Fortune in Real Estate, another Ron's product. So that's what you get today if you join as a member. Not to mention all the benefits. Okay, how to get the most out of your owner financing note with structuring and servicing. How many are doing owner finance? Me and Amy. How many want to do owner finance? Okay, that's what I should have asked, huh? So, I've been doing owner finance for quite a few years. Give me a second to get our presentation off here. But the owner finance stuff is exciting stuff. You know, a lot of people do renting, right? But you got to deal with tenants and toilets. And after a while, I mean, there's great advantages, tax advantages and stuff to that. But if you don't want to deal with that, you can sell with owner finance. And you know, if you're paying with cash and selling with owner finance, then naturally you got a huge opportunity for monthly cash flow there, right? But what I've been doing with a lot of my owner finance stuff is I bought, Amy, which one is this? Which? Is it this one right here?
Yeah. It has a typo in it because I didn't re-upload it after. What's in this number? Instead of performing, I wrote preforming. Cover from it. Even if it's not going to find this misspelled word.
So what I did with most of my owner finance stuff is I bought them subject to. So what does that mean? I basically gave no money for them, or very little. 10 bucks, 100 bucks. In some cases, maybe a 1,000 or two, you know, if there was equity in the deal. But I leveraged that house, right? I took over that mortgage, and it might have been a 2, a 3, a 4% interest rate, and then I sell them at 8 or 9. The biggest one, do you remember Fossil Rock?
Yes.
The biggest one I did was in Azle a couple years ago, and I hated to see them refinance me out and pay me off, but it was $1,000 a month cash flow on the wrap mortgage.
Z in his name.
Because I bought it at like 3% and sold it at 8. It was almost $300,000 house. I paid $5,000 up front for the equity that was in the house. And I don't remember exactly what the numbers were now, but there was something like $80,000, $90,000 in the house. But for about 4 years, $1,000 a month cash flow from that house. Is that pretty good? Great. Everybody want 15, 20 of those?
Yes.
And I got that house, believe it or not, from a radio ad. So there was a radio station in Weatherford that run a special on this program called the Trading Post. And anybody know what Trading Post is? You know, people have stuff to sell. You know, so my thought process was I could do that, or I could do the Alito football games. And there was one other choice. And I'm thinking, who at an Alito football game is going to be listening to my We Buy Houses ad? I want the people that are looking for money. They're selling things, right? I'm thinking, well, if they're selling stuff, maybe they got a house to sell too, and it worked. The only problem is they quit running that show. But it worked for me long enough to make some money off it, and that's exactly what happened. And they heard the radio ad and called me. I did that deal. The guy had an 800 credit score. He obviously wasn't worried about credit, right? He just wanted somebody to take care of his debt. Mom passed away. Dad was sick back in Minnesota, and it just so happened at the same time he lost his job here. So again, I was looking for that motivated seller, and that's what I found. And that's how I did that deal. I sold it on a wrapped note, and Amy serviced it the whole time, and they just paid me off a year ago, maybe 9 months, 12 months. But no more $1,000 a month cash flow on that, so that worked out pretty good. Any questions about that before I turn it over to Amy? So Amy and I have been working together for golly, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe more.
2011.
It's been a while. So she's serviced a lot of loans for me. She's dealt with a lot of headaches for me over the years for non-payment, and I'm sure she'll share some of that stuff with you, but I love her for the service that she offers. She's been a sponsor of this group for many years, and a lot of people have done business with her from this group, so listen to what she has to say. She understands the numbers and provides a very valuable service, especially when it shouldn't cost you anything if you set up the deal correctly. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Amy.
Is that a mic?
Yes.
Oh, good. I was wondering, I was going to short it down.
Well, that's a recorder, actually. Good up. You will have to speak up.
Just front back.
You want to stay kind of over on this side. It's fine.
This one's mine. Am I allowed to have coffee semi near your stuff?
Or you can set it right here.
You said I had to stay to this side though.
No, you're okay. I moved it. Here's, you just have to, this.
This goes somewhere on
Lock
it.
it down.
Hi, my name's Amy Sayer. I'm not very loud, so if you can't hear me, just kind of either move closer or wave that you can't hear me. And I just, regrettably have 3 sons and a husband who has hearing loss, so it was kind of a funny joke God played on me that I just don't have a very big voice. So, you told me I had to stay still.
This is all, you just have to keep playing.
Okay. Apparently I get to walk around a little too. I've been doing loan servicing since 1987, but I started off doing it for families and friends and some investor friends just on the side. because it was fun, it was easy, and there was no licensing for it at the time. And they started licensing in Texas in 2011, and I got licensed in 2011 October when they started doing it, which is through the Texas SML. Is anyone familiar with what loan servicing is? Okay. Well, I started off as an investor because my dad was a builder and a rehabber, depending on what time the market was doing. And my mother is an appraiser and a broker, and my sister's an appraiser. And I was good at doing numbers, so I was put in charge of keeping track of them when they had them as rentals. And then they wanted me to actually get to the calls on rentals. And it turns out I don't wake up really well. So we started converting them into owner finance loans because people would say that I was snippy at 2 a.m. when they had a water leak, or if they called because their neighbors were loud. And I thought, go over and talk to your neighbors and call the cops. But it's sure a lot easier just to go over and say, hey, it's time to go to sleep. Can you be quiet? I mean, how hard is it to tell your neighbors that, in my opinion? It's a whole lot easier to be nice to your neighbors and say, I need you quiet now. My kids can't go to sleep and you're making me crazy, than it is to call the cops and have them know you called the cops on them. But just an opinion. So I'm going to cover owner financing, how to structure the deal so it's the best if you were to go turn around and sell it. I make sure I structure all of my owner finance transactions, so if I need to sell it, I can. My goal is to keep most of them because I like having money coming in. My goal is someday to retire. Maybe, I don't know. I think I get bored of that, but it is a goal. So that's what we're doing. So I started off, that number's actually not accurate because the copy I have of this file was old. We're right below $500 million, so we're sitting at, I think, 493,000 or million. When I stated I grew up in real estate, actually, my first job in real estate was cleaning up other people's dog poop in their backyard when my parents bought a rental property and stripping wallpaper. I actually preferred the wallpaper. Owner finance is when someone purchases a property and you're going to offer it as selling. So if you picked up the property, there's the ability to have wrappable money, and finding an investor who's willing to let you wrap the money, and it's completely legal to do. Sometimes people will tell you it's not. You want to make sure that if you are wrapping an underlying mortgage, you tell them not to walk into the bank, or the person that you're wrapping, tell them to not go into the bank and say, I sold this property. We've had a couple of times that's happened. I have some really, great stories about people doing that. So if you have any questions while I'm talking, just raise your hand and let me know so we can move on, because I want to make sure I'm covering what you guys want to hear. Is that good? Okay. Using professionals. I think the key to having a good note is having a good RMLO, qualifying your buyer. The more qualified your buyer is, the more successful your note's going to be. It also makes sure that you're following the rules in Dodd-Frank, qualifying the buyer to do that, having an attorney close it. I'm a big fan of realtors. Yes?
Amy, they're not going to know who an RMLO is.
Oh, residential mortgage loan originator, somebody who originates the loan. So when you go to buy a house, if you've gone to buy your house, you took in your taxes, you filled out a 1003, bank statements, etc. The RMLO gathers all that information and builds it into a package, and based on your interest rate determines if you're a high-cost mortgage or a higher-cost mortgage, and qualifies you for a mortgage. It does the disclosures and ensures that you're qualified to buy the house and have the ability to repay. Keyword, ability to repay. And does anyone have any questions on? Thank you for that. Yes?
Where do you find an RMLO? Are they in your office, or are they, you go out and search for RMLO on the internet?
Well, there's RMLOs who specialize in owner finance mortgages that are I have a list of them.
Okay.
If you need one, I like to try and use someone who's bilingual. An RMLO can either do a great service or they can just provide you disclosures. I like to use an RMLO who's going to qualify my borrower and make sure that I have all the underlying information. By the way, he has no forts. I've been watching him out the window. He jumped from one branch to another holding a chainsaw. So I was quite blown away. I'll try and pretend that doesn't freak me out, but it does. RMLO. So an An RMLO will do disclosures. That's the bare basics of what they have to do for their job. But you want an RMLO that's going to gather the taxes, the insurance, the paperwork, and all together. When you write your contract, you want to make sure if you're rolling any costs that it's in your contract, because you have to have that written up on how much it's going to be. So if you just put, it's a $200,000 house and the contract price is $150,000, but it doesn't say that there's going to be any fees, or you know what the fees are, then they'll have to redisclose and redo your paperwork to make it within the tolerance. So it's really important when you write the contract, it's in there. Yes? Oh, I thought you had a question.
No, but I might just help people understand. The government makes lenders disclose.
Yes.
So they're saying if you do over how many, you have to disclose.
3 to 5, it's depending on the attorney and how they've interpreted Dodd-Frank, I found.
So
A year.
since you're not a loan officer, you can't disclose. You have to have certain training and licensing.
Right.
But most lenders won't do it for you because they're busy doing their own stuff. So you have to find somebody who specializes as an RMLO to do those disclosures, or the government's going to come after you.
You don't want that.
Is that
So-
okay? I mean, is that enough description, I think?
Yes,
Okay.
because they have to have it within a certain tolerance too. So if they have to redisclose, they're going to charge you usually about $300 to start over, and it has to hit a certain timeline when everything has to happen. Yes.
So Amy, you're not a RMLO?
I'm an RMLS.
You're RMLS?
RMLO is an originator, I'm a servicer.
Okay.
I work with a lot of originators because they're sending over the docs that that we service.
Okay.
And so you can see them. I can see some that have actually not put in the right disclosures because they have a high cost mortgage versus a higher cost, and you get to know who does their job well by looking at paperwork. Yes?
At what point in the process do you bring in the RMLO?
The beginning.
So when you have, because you said to put in the contract those fees that are associated with the originator and any other
If you're
fees.
rolling any cost in there.
So that would be, so you need to make sure to have a relationship with that loan officer that has the RMLO designation, so that if you do get into a situation where the seller wants to or is willing to do a financing, a wraparound, that you'll have that person on your team. It's not like you okay with doing owner financing, let me go find an RMLO. Because if you have to know those.
I like knowing them ahead of time, but if you don't, as long as you're using an RMLO that works in owner finance, they'll be able to pick up and go from there. But I think it's handy to have the contact information and be ready to go, because it's always helpful to have a team built in place so you know where you're going from A to B, B to C, and rolling down the line.
So if you wait till you need it, now you're what? You're
Struggling.
reacting, right? Instead of planning. Reacting is never good. So Amy's right, build that team. I have, if somebody's looking for an RMLO, I don't know if that was what the question was, but I have one that I've used numerous times over the years, but definitely have your team together to start with so you know who to go to, without a doubt.
And she's making sure I don't use too many acronyms.
I think most people in this room don't know what an RMLO is, so now they do, yeah.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you just clarify on the comment that you said about if you're originating between 3 or 5, you need to do the disclosures, or more than 3 to 5? Is that what you
I would
said?
always do disclosures so you're protected.
Okay.
But Dodd-Frank, it depends on which attorney you're using. They've said if you do 2 to 3 to 5 a year, you have to do those disclosures and have to qualify your buyer. I prefer to always qualify the buyer because you never know if you're going to have a banner year, and why start out in January and not do them, and then you've limited yourself as to how much you can do.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to make money and have a business.
So I agree with Amy, just do it. And the problem is, there is the definition of whether or not you need to use an RMLO or not is not an easy answer. It's not just a matter of how many deals you're doing. Are you a large lender? Are you a small lender? What the definition of that lender is? What's the income of the people, the buyers? I mean, there's a lot of factors. It's not a simple black and white easy answer. If you plan ahead and do it right the first time, the first one, you've got it covered. You don't have to worry about, did you do it or not do it? Just do it. It's better for your buyers and for you anyhow.
And buyers take it more serious. And you have a better qualified buyer, and you're going to know if your buyer's qualified to buy the house. People bark back and don't want to say they don't want to do an RMLO because it'll cost their buyer money. But not doing it, I found there you have a greater risk of a borrower defaulting because they haven't qualified your buyer. And they can come back and say that you didn't qualify them. And if a court of law finds that you sold a house to someone who does not have the ability to repay, and you've now done more than 3 or 5 a year, they can take you to court and get all their money back, all their payments, the interest, and escrow that they paid back to you. And I don't want to be in that position.
The other thing is even if you go to court, let's say I wasn't qualified, and you go to court and you win. Did you win?
No, we lost one.
The time, the lack of sleep, the money. I mean, you may have won the court case, but did you really win? My attorney years ago told me, he says, I want to go get them, right? They owe me money. I want to go take them to court. And he says, is it worth throwing good money after bad? You might win it, but will you ever get it? That's the question. So, my opinion is just do it right to begin with, and then you don't ever have to question it. You're covered. Will that prevent you from going to court? No, because people can sue anybody for anything, right?
It will prevent you from going to court if you decide to go on a cruise because it's your anniversary and you leave town. Because Tim did do that and had to have someone go to court, so I drove into Fort Worth for him.
She did do that. I'm telling you, her services are invaluable.
So what's the advantage of using your service?
For
How
just
to
the servicing.
eliminate, you already have those professionals by using you, or?
I'm a note servicer, so we collect the payments, we amortize the loan, we do the annual escrow analysis, we pay the taxes, the insurance, and do the end of year tax statements, and are making the collections. It puts a space in between someone telling, it ensures your loan service correctly. We had a couple come in that, we have a ton of loans that come in December when people realize they don't have enough money for taxes and insurance, they didn't do it correctly, they've never done an escrow. We had one that came in that we had a couple come in this last month that we had to go back and rebuild the whole payment history. One came in that, the borrower was paying $850 for P&I, except they were subtracting $850 from the loan every time they made a payment because they didn't actually know to amortize their 10% loan, which is not paying $850 off the principal every month. And they were covering taxes and insurance, but they never collected it for 3 years. And so that would be you losing money on your transaction. So we had to actually go back and rebuild the payment history based on what it was. They had to have an attorney, they used an attorney to send them a letter and tell them what their principal balance was, because it definitely wasn't what they told them it was. They weren't issuing monthly mortgage statements, which is a requirement. When you get a payment in, you have to issue a monthly mortgage statement to owner finance loans. It's in Dodd-Frank. I'm going to jump back to this part, but anyway, we report credit also. And so if your buyer, it motivates people to pay on time. It helps them if they want to refinance and into a traditional mortgage. We find unless the investor has told the buyer that they want them to refinance, they're usually buying a new truck, a new car. One got a 60-inch flat screen curved television. I didn't even know why they curved them, but he told me he converted his garage into a Dallas Cowboy man cave. That's why I couldn't make his payment that month. I said, well, if you'd like to keep it, you need to make payments. So you can enjoy your man cave that you just built yourself. I put buyer pays fees. So your buyer's paying for the fees. If you have to go back and have your RMLO redisclose, that's on the seller. So you want to make sure you have everything right when you turn it in. If you mess up the first time and you pay the $300 fee, I look at it as, that was working on my master